Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mike with another episode. Sorry, this one's a couple days late, um, but we're back. I sat down with my friend Alex English today, and we started the episode talking about Fred Hampton from the Chicago Black Panthers, how he was murdered by the Chicago PD. But we ended up talking about a lot of stuff. We talked about politics and culture and religion, and we talked about whitey, because it's Black History Month. And it was a lot of fun. I'm excited for you guys to hear the episode. I do have to ask you for a little bit of money, though. I know. What a whore, right? I'm a little Patreon slut, but I need your Patreon money. If you can swing it, if you enjoy the show, if you can go and kick us a couple dollars on Patreon, you get an extra episode every week. And if you just want to do, like a one-time donation, it's very easy to sign up and cancel. And if you want, you could also Venmo me if you want to do a little one-time donation. Michael-Racine-2 is my Venmo. So if you like, I don't know, throw me $1, give me 50 cents, give me a penny. Everything helps, I'm like one of those homeless people on the train. I don't turn my nose up at pennies. Yeah, this is like kind of my only consistent source of income. So I really do appreciate everybody who gives already. And we don't have ads, folks. So all the revenue comes in from donations from fine people like you. All right, enough for this. Let's start the show, baby.
What we're saying is that there are white people in the mother country that are for the same types of things that we are for stimulating revolution in the mother country. And we said that we will work with anybody and form coalition with anybody that has revolution on their mind. We're not a racist organization because we understand that racism is an excuse used for capitalism. And we know that racism is a byproduct of capitalism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people. And we're going to have to put it back in the hands of the people. With no education, the people take this local foundation and start stealing money because they won't be really educated to why it's the people's thing anyway. You understand what I'm saying? With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism like you got in Africa now, like you got in Haiti. So what we're talking about is there has to be education program. That's very important. As a matter of fact, we are so important for us that a person has to go through 6 weeks of our political education before he can consider himself a member of the party, able to even run down ideology for the party. Why? Because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You might get people caught up in the emotionalist movement. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more, and before you know it, they'll be capitalists, and before you know it, we have Negro imperialists. We don't think...
R.I.P. Fred Hampton, everybody. You could probably also hear me breathing into the microphone. Welcome to the show. Happy Black History Month. We're talking to Alex English, a good friend of mine.
That's right.
And, yeah, so thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, friend.
We're going to talk about, I think we're going to talk about Fred's murder in the beginning, and then we'll use that to sort of get into, like, whatever
everything else.
Everything else. So Fred Hampton was murdered on December 4th, I think 1969 by so there's evidence that the FBI and the Chicago PD conspired to kill him in his house. His wife was 8 months pregnant at the time. And there's a documentary on YouTube that you guys should check out. I think it's a 1971 documentary called The Murder of Fred Hampton, and I think the whole thing is on YouTube. So I would urge everybody to go and check that out. Watch that video because they'll be better. That documentary is probably way better getting the information. One thing I'm realizing doing the show is I'm not good at relaying information.
But
I hate it.
But you're taking it in though.
I'm taking it in, yeah, and I want people to, check that out and spend Saturday just watching Fred Hampton clips.
And what's your
YouTube.
what's your takeaway?
My takeaway?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Well, there's some evidence, like there's evidence that the FBI had an informant, and the Chicago PD. I'm just kind of like I don't have any notes in front of me. I'm just sort of
Yeah, based on what you saw.
Yeah, but the Chicago PD went into his house. They raided his house and they killed him, and then they tried to cover it up. And I think the chief of the Chicago PD or he had
Cook
some kind
County.
of, yeah, this guy Hanrahan, he tried to allege that Hampton shot at the cop. He was armed. He shot at the cops, and he was like, "Here's the bullet holes on the wall that he was shooting at our officers, and they were nail holes." So
yeah, I do remember reading that there was like conflicting stories outside of the officers' allegations.
Yeah,
that
they killed somebody else
they
too.
fired
they killed
first.
Yeah, but they killed another leader too. I think
Yeah,
the same
because it was the house. It was the
night.
house of the Black Panther Party, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I kind of feel bad. Like I wish. I mean, I'm a comic, and I wish I could spend like a whole week, researching certain topics, and but we're kind of working. I'm like working with what I have.
Mm-hmm.
You
You have YouTube. Yeah,
I have YouTube, and you guys have YouTube too. So you
we
can
do.
go. Yeah. But I do want to talk about that because I think Noam Chomsky said that was one of the most egregious like state-sponsored murders of somebody.
Yeah, I feel like for the 1960s, it was definitely one of the flagship, if you will, like moments of like when you openly saw conspiracy against a group where we see it now more than ever because of we have so much access to information.
Yeah.
That because I think back then it was way easier for the FBI to
just
cover
to murder
up.
somebody.
Yeah, exactly, just to murder someone, and then just to cover it up also, and then to claim they shot first. Whereas now we have the internet, we have video, we have all forms of like all different types of ways to figure out what side of the story actually was the truth.
Yeah, they're like, "Fuck you, he's dead."
He's dead, exactly. And
yeah, no, here's the gun
under the rug.
Yeah.
No,
I know the gun says officer, officer.
But you said the holes in the wall. These were nails.
They were nail holes. Yeah, it was just a bad cover up. But I guess we could talk about like why they wanted to kill him, because I think the FBI wanted him gone. And I think that what happened was they used the Chicago PD as this sort of like hit squad to carry it out.
Yeah.
Because J. Edgar Hoover, I think, was in charge of J. Edgar Hoover was in charge of the FBI at that time.
You know what's funny? I think when it comes to wanting Fred Hampton gone, there's definitely an obvious point just from the way he spoke about the truth, basically of the way African Americans are treated, and just his viewpoints of capitalism, which I think was a very new conversation for our community back in the 60s. Of course, we weren't having these dialogues until the civil rights movement really came about. Right. So capitalism probably was like a form. We weren't really educated in what capitalism actually was and whether or not racism.
I mean,
was
I
a
wasn't
byproduct
until like a year ago.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely wasn't talking about capitalism in high school.
Yeah.
And imperialism and all of those different things. So I think they always say, I always used to hear this growing up, back in Detroit, all the black men used to tell me, the white man's biggest threat is an educated black man, so it's,
and when we podcast together, that's a big threat to the man too.
Yeah, somebody's gonna come in here and shoot up both of us.
Well, they'll probably just kill you.
They'll probably kill me. You might get grazed.
They're like, you didn't say anything. No, sir, I didn't.
But there's something.
I'm just driving around with a Blue Lives Matter sticker on my car. Why did they?
Well, you actually have a Hyde Bodies T-shirt on from Rochester, New York, so that's a really interesting parallel.
Oh yeah, I just pulled this out of my.
You know what? It makes me think. There's this point. I recently went back and listened to Patrice O'Neal's
I was just thinking
album
about that
the other day, and he always makes these really crazy points that you're right about how they murdered Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
They murdered Malcolm X once Malcolm X's views changed, and he was like, "Oh, we should come together," because he used to be extreme,
and no one gave a shit.
And
that's
no
what
one
he said.
gave
a shit about him.
And then he came over to when he went over to Mecca, came back and was like, "Oh, now I'm all about being together." They killed him.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about when they feel like we're talking too much about the problems, because once we're divided, it seems as though that's when they enjoy it the most. Like, yes, keep him around, we need that. But once we start speaking togetherness, no, we can't have that. We need black and white people at their throats. But I think in Hampton's case, he was going. I think he was going further than probably what Malcolm X was when he in his original views, where it was like, no, I'm actually going to educate everybody on what the white man knows
that
and
must
use
have
it
been
against
like a
him.
huge threat.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like a pretty big figure. The guy was 21 years old. I think when he was killed, he was the leader of just a very charismatic, very charismatic guy, but very, very educated and very big on like educating people. And I mean, there's a clip that I watched of him talking about like forming a credit union. So he's like, yeah, it's a bank. It's formed by the people. It's owned by the people. If people need a loan or something,
I would really like to know how closely connected he might have been to Black Wall Street, or if that was before.
I think that was in the 20s.
Was that before his time? Okay, yeah. But just say I don't know really, because I mean they ended up blowing that up. So yeah,
they did, right? Yeah.
Which is something I'm sure he would have wanted everybody to be well aware of. I mean, if he was going down the line of trying to get black people's money.
I know very little about black, but maybe that could be the next episode. I want to do.
Yeah, it was a big deal
for Black History Month.
It was a big
next
deal.
one I'll forget about.
Black History is not 365 with Mike Racine.
No, it is. But I guess that was in a Watchmen episode or something. I'm not sure what happened there, but it seems like what happened was they had this community, and then it was destroyed.
But it also circling back to like the Chicago PD. I mean, this is a good time to revisit their history too when it comes to how they conspired with the FBI to get rid of him, because they are constantly the Chicago is constantly a talking point when it comes to crime and when it comes to like the concerted effort to direct crime or place crime on the backs of the African American community. That's always a talking point. What about Chicago?
Right.
What about
Why didn't Obama go in there?
Exactly.
You should have sent in.
And
the feds.
you got the Chicago PD right now going through what they're going through with Jussie Smollett, and I'm like, they don't have like a very charmed history.
Wait, what are they going through with Jussie Smollett?
Well, I think they're bringing in a special prosecutor to come and investigate. He just got indicted for making up
just
the false claims.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should just let him know.
No, what?
Let him go, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No?
I don't know, because here's my thing. There are so...
All right, I was just kissing your ass.
There's no.
I just assumed that you would be pro Jussie.
Well, my thing... he's a piece of shit. No, because my thing is, there are so many cases of black people, brown people, gay people being assaulted on a regular basis in this country or being targeted. Why would you go out of your way?
It just hurts the credibility.
It hurts the credibility of it. You know what I mean? And it are these people that you made up, the people that the kinds of people that identify with those types already have everything in the world to say about when another video pops up. There are always those main people that are like, well, what did they do to this? What did that black person deserve to do to get shot? Or what did they do before? Why did they resist arrest? They're already talking like that. So why would you go?
Look at his pants and how low
exactly.
they are.
These are the exact same people who echo those same sentiments. So for you, first of all, the lie was sloppy. It was just a bad lie. It was just poor. It was a very poor lie. And so I'm just like,
that was one story I really didn't follow, but it was kind of funny to see people like, and white women specifically, be like, "This is an outrage.
Oh my God,
I am so distraught by this." My favorite actor, Jussie Smollett, was attacked.
Meanwhile, they ain't watched a single episode of Empire. You know what I mean? But it's like with no.
I did.
No, it's not. Once
it's not a good show.
Once that first episode when he got thrown in the trash, I was like, I can't deal with this. But I
just remember that movie Hustle and Flow. If I can cut it for
Hustle and Flow.
Terrence Howard. And he won
3 6 Mafia won the Oscar for that.
Yeah, was that movie good? Because I remember seeing it in high school, and it's either a bad movie or I didn't get it because I didn't really like it.
I remember enjoying it. I haven't seen it since the first time I saw it, but I do remember enjoying it. I like Taraji P. Henson, and Terrence Howard has a special place in my heart just because he's like, I have a very soft spot for like crazy black people, and not like bad crazy, but like he's just like a weirdo. So like I'm always Kanye.
Yeah.
I just have a soft spot because I'm like, we don't ever really give like black people the space to be.
Well, you don't get to be
a little
crazy.
kooky.
You don't get to be crazy.
We don't get to be
right?
crazy. Like exactly. And if we are crazy, we get shot. You know.
Yeah.
But
I like him because I have a micro penis. That's my soft spot for Terrence Howard.
You saw what movie was it? Get Rich or Die Trying. Get Rich or Die Trying. That's when I saw his penis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just heard that he has a micro penis.
Oh yeah, you can see it in Get Rich or Die Trying in the 50 Cent movie when he gets like stabbed, shanked up in the jail, and they like turn around and like show him full frontal. I was like, wow.
Right.
But the shower was on. Look, you just got me lit. You lit me up with this micro penis talk. But yeah, like Terrence Howard's like a weirdo and like, but yeah, Jussie, so when it relates,
didn't Martin Lawrence have like some kind of traffic incident where he got and
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like you gotta when you gotta look at when you see a black person go crazy, you gotta look at what's happening there. I think.
What were the components?
Yeah, what was going on?
What was going on? But I think
Chappelle said that on his Inside the Actors Studio interview. He was like, Martin's a very strong person, so for him to like do that, something was, and he must be. All comedians are very strong people.
Yes,
and we're better than all of you. so this is why I block you when you troll me because I don't have time because I'm better than you. No, but I had one guy like a couple nights ago that I had to block.
Yeah,
he called me a middle act.
Oh yeah, that's fighting words.
Yeah. And of course, it's some guy with like with
like 11 followers and like 20 digits in his name. Yeah, he's a bot.
But I know I'm starting to have I don't know if he's a bot, but he's definitely. But I'm starting to probably.
I just call people who are with like low follower counts and like weird names. I just call them bots.
Yeah,
I use it as a slur.
Right, but I'm talking shit so much that I'm starting to invite people to come and fight me. So I think it's only a matter of time.
You're big with Bernie online too. So I know when those people get and engage, but you're not anti-Bernie. So it's like you get the people who don't like Bernie to talk to you.
But I mean, I try to be polite with everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, but some people are just like pieces of shit, or they're trying to be funny, or they're like whatever. And I don't know. I think you just gotta. Anyway, enough about me.
You just tell them how much you know about the Black Panther Party, and they'll back off.
Mm-hmm,
tell them you're connected with. You know what's so interesting though, about this particular point though is like I always think about like how quickly, especially back then, anytime we got together, like anytime black people got together and like for the good of ourselves, we're demonized immediately. Like it's the same way kind of like with Black Lives Matter and like, then people get labeled as like Antifa and all these different types of labels for like identity extremists and stuff like that. But it's like, no, we're just trying to like help each other out because nobody else really seems like they want to.
But that's another thing too. I think we talked about this on one episode, but a bunch of Ferguson activists have been like killed and burned, like they apparently allegedly shot themselves and burned out cars. Yeah. And so like you brought up the point earlier about information. There's more information going around, but that almost makes it more frustrating because we see all this shit happening, like stuff like Sandra Bland and those Ferguson activists being killed, and then it's like everybody knows about it. The guy from Dallas who got shot by the guy Joshua Brown who testified.
I forget the name. I forget the name of the guy from the picture. Was that the guy in the picture who threw the?
He was throwing
the Milo, whatever the.
And he's dead or something.
He passed away too. He had the dreadlocks in the picture. Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about that, and I mean there's just too many.
That was so funny when Nick DiPaolo made that special, and it was like,
and he put the activist in the cover. I'm like, oh my god, dude, are you crazy?
then he apologized for it.
Oh god,
it's like, Nick, you got to double down at that point.
I mean, it's. I mean, the thing with Nick DiPaolo was like, dude, we know who you are.
Yeah.
We know who you are. You might as well just.
We know that you don't care.
You don't care.
What are you trying to, right.
What did you like?
Just go hard.
I haven't seen him in a while. Has he put out anything?
I think he put out a special recently. I mean, he's like a disappointment because he is such a good joke writer.
He's
and
really funny.
Like a legitimately really funny guy, and just this. But that's someone you're never going to be able to like, persuade him or have a dialogue with him or whatever because he's so.
That's where I'm like, I just kind of wish like that whole Tough Crowd crew was like still around to like bust his balls for that. Yeah, you know what I mean? It would just be really funny.
Yeah, because the smart guys from that show are dead.
They're all gone.
Yeah. Geraldo and Patrice are dead, and then there's somebody, I don't know. I mean, Todd Lynn was on. He passed away, but.
I heard he was mean though. I didn't.
Yeah,
know
I heard
him.
he was mean. Too. I met him in Montreal, but he was like blind and he just couldn't. He was like close to, and he was opening for Hannibal.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
Todd Lynn was opening for Hannibal.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because Hannibal gave him. He was trying to get back in stand up after.
I'm glad the people that I enjoy from Chicago kind of got up out of there.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard Todd was an asshole, but it's like, so what? I don't know. Until I meet you and you're an asshole to me.
You're right.
Yeah.
Until I meet you, I really haven't. I mean, I haven't had any bad That's the kind of that's the same way I felt about when we were talking before this about Milo. I was like, is he that bad, guys? Maybe he's funny and cool in conversations, and he just has weird, because I think a lot of people when I think about Milo, I don't even know how to say his last name. Yiannopoulos. He kind of falls into this category of sometimes that I feel I put myself into where especially women, particularly white women, feminist white women really want gay men to be all about their shit. And it's he's still a man. He's still a dude who thinks like a dude. He
still hates you.
He still hates you, right?
Probably more. 'Cause you don't have a pussy.
Maybe if you got some balls, maybe.
Right. You don't have a wet hole that he enjoys.
I just want people to kind of remember, because sometimes I've been saying this a lot to people. Been having these conversations with women will talk to me about their problems with a guy, and I'm like, it sounds like you're tripping, girl. I'm on the guy side.
Yeah, you're on the guy side. Yeah.
I was you forget, and I mean, but with him, it's he's problematic and has a lot of shitty ideas, but I just can't, I can't dismiss the guy because he feels a way. He's also fucking a black dude, so I mean, how?
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing maybe that isn't racist about him is his asshole. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the problem is the dishonesty and the just there's not very much thought behind what he's saying, and it is sort of harmful for. And he's young too,
right? Isn't he
He's in his early 30s.
Yeah. So it's one can say he doesn't have the most extensive life experience to really go out there and speak on behalf of every gay white conservative dude, so it's
well, I remember around 2015 2016 when he sort of kind of emerged. I remember being this guy rules, but I think that's just because I hate women so much. It's just
every bit of information I had about him was all from another party, somebody else was telling me, and it was always somebody that disagreed with him. So I was just well, who is this guy? Because I had no idea who he was. And after I watched a couple episodes of podcasts and stuff that he was on, I was oh, this guy's kind of funny to me, because when you're
he's kind of funny.
It's funny because I spend so much time being I'm from a very black community. So all of my gay friends are gay black dudes. I didn't have any access to
all
gay.
of my best friends are gay black dudes too.
That's thank you. He offered me his best coffee, y'all, just so y'all know, just to solidify that.
Dad doesn't even get to drink that.
He made sure there was creamer in it. It wasn't straight black though. But so I didn't have
I actually have been buying my own coffee. I've been buying good coffee and hiding it from Deb.
What has she been drinking?
Just the not as good coffee.
Wow.
But she doesn't know the difference.
Now I'm on her side in y'all little argument earlier today.
Well, first of all, she doesn't care, and second of all, I buy all the groceries, so it's my little thing that I do.
It is your
hide
thing.
good coffee from her. I bought a big bag over there, but it's I don't know. It's not. It's whatever. That's what you're drinking now. It's supposed to be good, but it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. But it's not terrible.
Oh, best beach, and I'm drinking from her cup too.
Yeah. Now it's not terrible, but I'm gonna get some better coffee.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna hide it.
Do you think this is what Fred Hampton wanted me to be sipping coffee from a white woman's coffee cup?
Probably. Yeah. We're honoring Fred
in her home.
We're honoring every black leader that was murdered. Just drinking out of a white woman's cup.
You know what are your thoughts on Louis Farrakhan?
I sometimes I go down these YouTube rabbit
Me too.
holes. Yeah, it's what you brought up earlier. It's fun to listen to crazy people.
Yeah,
but I mean he's not that crazy.
He's not. Did you see?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've come across. You probably did if you went on a rabbit hole with him on YouTube. The one where he did an interview on Donahue.
Yeah.
And he it was an hour long conversation.
Yeah.
And
I didn't watch the whole thing, but he is a fun because people
he
who
challenges white people, and that's what I don't like it when he starts to go down his Jewish stuff.
Yeah.
That's his anti-Semitism is a
That's
bit
his, that's
dude,
his Achilles heel.
That's the part that I'm like, dude, you had me up until that point. Sure, the argument can be made if we're going down a historical, rabbit hole again of like biblical stuff and like, whatever Jewish people may have been a part of, like slave. Like, sure, we can go down that, but but where we are now, where we were when we got to him on the Donahue moment, I was like. That was like what the 80s. It's like, sir.
Well, it's easy for
the
people
Jewish
to fall
people
into
of
those.
today are not responsible for the Jewish shit that happened to black people who were part of it from way back when.
I know that is a weird rabbit hole, and also like I mean, look, it's easy to kind of sometimes if you're not educated, right? It is easy to sort of fall into those traps. I mean, like every time a building catches on fire in Bushwick, there's always like a guy in a yarmulke outside on a cell phone, being like, oh, like, you can tell he's the landlord, and it's like. So if you so here's the thing, like if you live in New York and you're just going from like an imperial sort of taking an empirical approach or whatever, which is like just what you see, then like I'm sorry, I hope I didn't just explain something to you like condescendingly, but yeah, if you're just going by what you see, it's like a lot of. I mean, I'm pretty sure every landlord I've ever had is. I've had one Polish landlord.
Really?
Since in
I had a black
12
lady.
Years. You did?
I had a black lady.
Good for her.
Yeah, all right.
Should get her on the podcast.
Our apartment was like this gay frat house. It was just nothing but gay black men living in there. I think that's still the case now.
Yeah.
And she just kind of like got used to. That being like the gay black apartment. It got passed on from like gay black friends to gay.
Yeah.
Not really. Well, I was clean, but some people. Yeah, but I had a black lady.
That's a stereotype.
I mean, I guess mine now. I think mine is white. Yeah, my current one, but my first one was black woman. Yeah,
black woman.
Yeah. She owned it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy. I did a junk removal job in Harlem one time, and there was a guy who like. He was like selling. He was like this older black man. He was selling the building, and we had like. So he must have been getting. I'm sure he was getting a lot of money for this building that he was selling, and he did work us pretty hard. Like, like those are sometimes those are when you work in moving or whatever. Like I think older black people will sometimes be tough customers because they work you pretty hard.
Oh, for sure. I had
they have no sympathy for you.
When I was living in Harlem, there was this one I was renting the room, so I wasn't even. It was like this guy that like. I'm sure this is illegal, but like was just like had properties in Harlem and was just like giving. So I was like, I found him like on Craigslist or something. I needed a place. Yeah. And he would always ask me to like. He'll pull up and like I'm in the car, come downstairs and bring the rent, whatever. So I would come downstairs, get in the car. He would ask me to get in the car, like not just give it to him in the window. I would get in the car and like he would just be counting, like he'd be on the phone, he'd be counting money, wanting to talk to me and shit. And then he would be like catcalling women on the street while I'm sitting there. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be attached to this. And then. This
my friend here thinks you got a fat ass.
I've never told.
You know.
Here's.
You've never told
I've never told anybody this next thing. So this is an exclusive.
Okay.
This is. He once had me come to his apartment, which was like closer to like Washington Heights or whatever, to go and like I had to go give him the rent or whatever, and I went upstairs when he told me to have a seat and all that shit, and so. Yeah. I give him the money. I'm trying to hand it to him.
So he made you get in the car because he didn't want to get robbed or something?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I go into the apartment.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give him the money so I can dip. And he's like, sit down. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I just want to. He's like, Alex, what would you do if I asked you for some head? I was like, I was literally speechless.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a nigga that I thought was just like catcalling. I just saw you like catcalling girls on the street. Like, what is going on here?
Right.
And part of me, the money strapped, struggling, working at a restaurant. I was like, well, you talk about me not paying this rent? Is that? But I think I said something to the effect of like,
It's a
"Oh,
lot
dude."
of money for one.
I was like, "Dude, I'm in
blowjob.
a relationship. Like, I can't." I wasn't, but I was like, "Dude,
You
I'm
weren't,
like,
yeah.
I can't do this." He's like, "All right, I'm just asking."
He was an older guy. Yeah.
Yes.
He's like, this is just a test.
This dude was like old enough to be like my father. So I was like, this is what is happening in Harlem. And so, but he would always like barge into the apartment when I was like randomly sleeping in my room, like, you know, yelling about the
He just
kitchen.
rented by the room. Yeah.
He would just walk in. He would just
Right,
walk.
right.
I'd be like, this is not a way to
That's
live.
that's a violation of your rights. Too.
It's just
They can't
not a
come
way
to
to
the
live. It's
apartment, yeah.
not a way to live at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
So I was a
Yelling
little-
about the kitchen, like it
something.
was dirty.
Yeah, if something was like out of place in the kitchen, if like something was on the
But
stove.
he owned a bunch of properties.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he would threaten to kick me out all the time. But I'm like, motherfucker, I'm giving you money on time. Like, what is going on here? I had to find. That's when I ended up moving to Brooklyn. But I was like, oh, I wish the FBI would come and shoot this place up, man. I'm sorry, this motherfucker.
Yeah. Should have sucked his dick. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's New York.
it just felt so slimy and weird, and I was just so uncomfortable.
Yeah, right. I know it is fun to go down those YouTube wormholes though sometimes, and like, you listen to Farrakhan.
Farrakhan's a good one to go down. Like, I always find myself kind of just like, what interview? And you know, he got like shadow banned, I think, or like banned from like Facebook and Instagram, I believe. Yeah, they took him
he's
down.
a great. So if you want to sort of demonize someone, if you can link someone to Farrakhan, then you can effectively villainize someone. And I think they did that with Keith Ellison.
Oh yeah,
he just
Keith
has,
Ellison from Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah, because he just has like certain views that you know, or he said certain things over the years that he'll probably never be able to live down or apologize for. It's always
he will
be.
never.
And they're doing that. They're doing that with Ilhan Omar too. Like she's made a few comments, so now it's like she's just permanently painted as an anti-Semite, and anybody who like they're just gonna smear her for the rest of her career.
Very
probably.
Difficult. I think the
But we love Farrakhan at this podcast. the other funny thing too is like there's some guy, and I forget what his name is, but he's like I see him on YouTube a lot, and he's a guy with like he's got like a chin strap beard.
Dr. Umar,
maybe,
or what's the other guy's name? Boyce Watkins. There are a lot.
It might be Dr. Umar.
Dr. Umar Johnson. He's not really a doctor, but Umar Johnson, he's not doctor.
Surprise.
There's another one though.
But his whole thing is like he's like a black man first and foremost must commit himself to a black woman, because what happens is the white man convinces the black man that his queen is more valuable. So he's like
I
think I told Rosebud that one time. I was like, you just convinced.
You're taking all Rosebud. If you're listening, you're taking all of our black kings.
Yeah, stop taking our black kings, you white devil fucking whore, scumbag. But his whole thing is like, the white man convinces the black man that his queen is more valuable, that his prize is more valuable.
Well, you know what guys like that also say is that homosexuality was brought from the white man.
From the white man.
We
taught you how to.
Yeah, y'all taught us specifically. I mean, I remember
just a bunch of black guys in a room, like some white guys, like, all right, boys, I'm gonna show you a little. Now here's a little something. You want sex without all those annoying babies.
You know what's so funny
He's
about
just sucking
that?
a dick in front of. It's just like. It's easy. Now you try. It's like a seminar.
But it's like we try to do it to our the black dudes try to do it to each other. Like, no, you gotta do it to a white dick. Not you're doing it the wrong way.
No, suck my dick.
No, it's funny too, because when I went to college, and I know a lot of
homosexuality was invented by whitey.
By the Jews. It was invented by the Jews specifically. It was brought over by the Jews.
Scott Chaplin sent me a meme one time, and some guy was like, it was a picture of like Greek art, and it was like two Greek guys kissing, and then it was a picture of African art, and it was like a king and queen standing together. It was like, this is why I say white men are faggots. It's in your DNA. It's like, can't really argue there.
We are kings, okay?
Yeah,
and y'all converted us.
Yeah. Well, I was watching clips of Hampton today, and like the way he speaks is so like it's like passionate and deliberate, and then they'll cut to like one of his white lawyers, and it's just.
Hey,
and also
there you go. I mean, it's the equivalent of these black male comics who get up there and talk shit about like black people and black women, and they got white girlfriends.
Yeah.
It's the same shit. You know what's so funny? When I remember being like,
I never got to have sex with a black woman.
No.
Huh? I don't know what's wrong with me?
What is wrong with you?
I don't know.
No. No, I mean it's about access.
I think our prom queen.
Did you go to school? Did you go to school with
I went,
black girls and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, our prom queen was this girl Akira, and I think she wanted to. and she was like very
Yeah.
like she was the girl you were like rooting for to be prom queen.
Okay.
And we like made out at a party one time.
Oh, okay. So you got some experience.
Yeah. And then she was like, Mike, we should bone this summer.
Oh shit.
And, but I never did. I guess it was.
I'll never forget
I guess
my
I'm a-
first white male crush
Yeah.
was 3rd grade.
Uh-huh.
Brandon. He had like a bleach blonde like bowl cut.
Yeah.
With an earring.
Yeah.
He always wore like baggy button down shirts and stuff. I sat right next to him. And when you're like young and like a little gay kid, you're just kind of like brushing up. I'm just like brushing up against him and stuff. Like,
Right.
not really, like, it's not sexual, but it's like, oh, I definitely like this kid.
Yeah.
You know? It's so funny. I remember being like in college and like becoming more comfortable and like kind of doing what I wanted. And, I know a lot of black people who are gay or like queer or whatever can kind of relate to this. My mom and them will always be like, oh, look, you went over there. You know what didn't happen? You done went over to that school. That school didn't taught you.
Really?
You done went over to that school that you talked that they didn't taught you. They didn't taught you all this stuff. I'm like, y'all the ones who told me to go to college.
Yeah. Oh, she thinks you caught it in college?
I don't know. I think back then she was talking like that. I think now we're a little bit more evolved
right.
But it was like she thought that maybe like who I was around. I was hanging around.
Yeah, it just wasn't as out in the open as it used to be. My aunt's like husband's daughter is gay, and like it was a whole thing in my family where they were like, I think she went to Rutgers and had some professor that like
coerced
her.
and seduced.
And I think my mom was like, yeah, and Aunt Arlene and Uncle Emery went over to that school and they had a conversation with that teacher and they were like, what are you doing here? It's, like so funny.
It's like, almost like they just
couple.
Yeah, like during that stage.
Did you make our daughter a
it's like they give us no mind of our own. Like we can't like make it's kind of like you think your child is so smart until that point. Right. Make your own decisions for your sexuality. I always think about it though, like when I think about like black leaders like Hampton and Farrakhan. I know what his position is, but I always think about certain respected.
Well, you think Farrakhan killed Malcolm X?
I mean, one could say there is a documentary out right now that I've heard is really good. I don't know anything. There's a Malcolm X documentary out on Netflix right now that I've heard is really, really good, and it raises a couple more questions that people have already had.
Well, it's funny. One of them died, and then one of them became YouTube famous. So you never know. I don't know.
He got
everything worked out.
Is Farrakhan's page monetized?
Yeah,
by the Jews.
Yeah, it just goes right to the Jews. His Patreon the Jews take a cut of it. They're like, okay, listen, you can keep making. Here's what we're gonna do for you, okay?
The Patreon.
You can keep making videos, but we get 25%. He's like, all right, deal. He's like, these Jew devils.
Oh my God.
He has to just write him a check every month.
Oh my God.
I
don't know. Like, I mean, there is such a dilemma. I think, especially if you're like the younger. I think the younger you are when you're black, and the way the world is so homogenized now, and there are so many African American kids being born that are being raised like so far away from the ideas or the ideologies of African American parents, like baby boomer ideas, or even really like millennial. Because like millennial, I have friends that I went to high school with that have children now that are like middle school age or whatever, and I see them on Facebook kind of sharing their ideas, and it mirrors the ideas of our parents, and I'm like, oh, so this shit is still kind of lingering.
Oh, it's like
on.
Cyclical.
Some of it is I don't want everybody to think millennials have kind of just like risen up, because there are some people who still have adopted what their parents told them.
There is a theory about that history is like cyclical, and it's not. It's like progress is not really a straight line. It's just like some periods are more progressive, and then but regressive in certain areas. So it's not like.
And like even now, and there's always something.
But slavery is generally frowned upon now. That's pretty good.
I mean, in general, I mean, there are some people who would say, but then there's also a troubled relationship that a lot of black folks have with the Bible, where it's like, it was used to enslave us. Right. So why are we? My thought process has always been, I come from a very religious household, and like. I strayed away from it, but I still believe. Yeah. But I'm not someone I've had to check myself before. Like I'll go home sometimes and like I'll catch myself like judging
The
how
guy's
hard.
Like, well, this has been the end of the sucking dick seminar, gentlemen. Now tomorrow we'll be studying white Jesus and his beautiful golden hair.
I just the way I've thought about it, because I used to go home and like kind of
That's
be
so
like,
funny that whitey taught black people to be
and,
gay. Yeah.
But my thing with it is like white people didn't use the Bible correctly. Like if you go based on what the Bible talks, but what it teaches, black people use the Bible it's not the best, but they use it better than what historically we're more prone to use it for love and for actual spirituality. They used it to enslave people, to conquer, and to like have something over people. So it's like
like Mr. Farrakhan, it says right here in the Bible that I'm entitled to.
But the way I'm like, okay, now how do we look using the Bible to still oppress people as black people? Because black people will still use the Bible to oppress gay people and to oppress trans people and others who don't think like them. Right. So whenever I'm challenging my family, I'm like, listen, if I don't go to church like that, it's because I don't believe in some of the, like I'll go to church with my family sometimes when I go home to visit. Yeah. And like you said, magically out of nowhere, I just feel like the pastor sees me and he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about dicks and man on man shit today, trans people, forget whatever I was going to talk about.
Just because you're there?
Because he knows me. Yeah. And I'm like, I was like, oh God, here we go. I gotta sit here and listen to this shit. There's always some sneaky little thing it could be.
Really?
There was literally one
and that's another thing too. It's like you can't really prove it, I guess. Like
you can't. Like, but it was like, nigga, were those in your notes?
That's another Patrice bit about the you can't prove the racism. So yeah.
So you got to sit there. You walking around with this paranoid shit.
No, he went off the cuff. He's like riffing. And another thing.
Quit sucking dick.
Sucking dick is for white people. We all know. And
my wife.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have such a troubled like relationship with like black Christianity. I just gets me so, because a lot of it is manipulation on hardship, and like I always tell people,
it's manipulation. That's interesting.
It's manipulation because like my mother was going through like a little bit of like she was like in between jobs or whatever, and so I was helping her out.
Because it does kind of seem like a lot of the idea behind it is like, you're suffering and you're always going to suffer,
right? So you might as well just tithe, give your 10% so that you can eventually become better, which happens, I guess, whenever, like but
some great music comes out of it.
that is the truth. Kirk Franklin gave us hits, gave us bangers. Kanye West gave us bangers.
Yeah.
But I was helping my mom out, and so I gave her some money. Yeah. And then weeks had passed, and I asked her, like, how you doing, whatever, like, what are you doing today? And it was like a Sunday. She's like, oh, I went to church, and like, I had to like, I gave. I was like, huh.
She gave your money to the church.
I was like, huh. I was like, whose money? And so I was trying not to have like a really I wasn't trying to argue, but I was just like, I didn't give you that money to give to that church. I gave you that money to like make sure that you were good, or make sure you and dad were good. Like, I know y'all just bought a house and y'all doing all these new things.
She's like, here's a little extra money, Pastor, for you.
Oh,
God.
Like,
all right, tell that homo son of yours I said, is he still doing that? Is he still doing that white boy shit?
You giving my gay money to that church?
Yeah.
He don't want that money, but that's the thing. It's,
I made that money being gay.
They're all here. Exactly. Those my gay jokes made that money. Okay? Don't give my money to that church.
Right.
That's for you. I didn't
get on stage talking about
sucking all this dick.
Yeah.
I didn't do that for you to give money to this church. To give money to this church. No, let me tell you what it is. It's to this church that ain't built this new church in over 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't have been. I mean, maybe I don't really know. But what I do know is,
what a fucking racket.
It's always because listen, they've been trying to build this.
Like that too.
They've been trying to build this new church since I was living in Detroit 10 years ago, and
it just doesn't get done.
It's been sitting on the same corner. Every time I go home, it looks the exact same as. I'm like, okay, it's the joke. It's the joke they have. Who tells it? I think it's Steve Harvey tells it in the Kings of Comedy about like the building fund. You know, where they take up 2 offerings.
Yeah.
Like I go home now and I go to visit, and like they have now like a projector that comes down that advertises their new app that you can download. So if you don't have cash, put your credit card information in and you can give that way. It comes up and down twice during the sermon. And it's just sitting there behind him, and it's like, here, it's just so, to me, it's just so weird. And this is another part of like a manipulation tactic to make you feel like if you can't give, there's something wrong with you and you're not honoring God. And it's like, that's how you fuck with people. And
my dad
I don't
is like that
it.
too. My dad goes to church every week, goes to Catholic mass, like gives money, and it is such a
you're preying on people's beliefs.
Racket, yeah.
And these people have gone through a week of hardship. Probably they hate their jobs, their kids are sick, they're sick. Somebody's people are going through it, and you're preying on that. On that vulnerability, to be like, I got to give my last, and these people don't have no food on the table.
Right.
it's
it's almost like it's like the worst. It's like the worst way to exploit people. Yeah.
And then they wonder why memberships people don't come. They wonder why people don't show up. Cause then what do I look like going to a church giving to a place that condemns me for whatever it is that I do? That's the FBI.
Right. My electric just lit up. Sorry.
I'm telling you, they coming over here. They coming to Brooklyn. But I just there's such a and that's it's because I think about the Black Panther, and I think about like all of these black groups that we come in such a we're all so different. Like it's said so much that black people aren't a monolith or whatever, and I think it's clear. Sure
there's not more solidarity.
I think the fact that we are not monolithic is why there seems to be sometimes a lack of solidarity within certain groups. Black Lives Matter goes through all types of drama and bullshit. The Black Panther Party has their ups and downs and shit. Like it's there's something to be said about the fact that we can all come together and agree that there needs to be something done, but we're not gonna all have this. We're not all gonna share in the same ideas or in the same beliefs.
Right.
So you got to get with the group that you think is going to best suit, is going to
do the most good for the most people.
Or is going to educate people. Because there's also something about the way people educate. Some people are miseducated, and that's also a problem. Fred Hampton seemed
I guess
like
that's
he
why
was
I'm a Bernie guy.
I mean, the same. I mean,
it just seems like it's the most good for the most people.
The most good for the most people. And I dig Bernie just because, you know what, I can't be mad at a white dude that was out here on the front lines of the civil rights movement. There's documented evidence of him being out here trying to like protect my rights.
Yeah, all I'm doing is podcasting. I don't even leave my house to talk about this stuff.
He's out here getting arrested and like holds down with us and shit. So I'm like, okay, I can get with someone that has always used his whatever privileges he had to stick his neck out on the line for people.
Yeah, even stuff he said about LGBT people back in like the 90s. I mean, I think that was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
everybody was homophobic.
Every single person.
90s.
Joe Biden was definitely homophobic.
Yeah. Oh, why don't you get away from me? Don't touch me. We were having a little talk in the boys chat this morning, and we were talking about who are the greatest villains, white men or white women. And I've been doing a bit about this on
the
stage.
Greater villains.
Who's like who's worse, white men or white women?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
because I mean, when you think about Emmett Till, the villain was a white woman.
Yeah.
But
I feel like that's a lot of the and I don't know.
But white men were the one. White men. See that's the thing. They kind of work together.
Yeah.
They work. White women and white men have always kind of
worked together.
The white woman's tears evoke anger from the white man to kill the black man.
Right. And we were just kind of like riffing about it, this morning. But
that's an interesting question. I don't know.
Honey, I think that black man wants to rape me, and he doesn't want to rape. He's like, are you a pussy?
Yeah.
Go do something.
Protect
about
me.
It. Protect me. Yeah.
And so then I thought it might be white women.
It might be white
women because they've always.
And that's the thing. It's like
it's indirect.
I'm with you. It's indirect. It's indirect, and it's a lot of ways. It's more, but the most evil is indirect because you don't have to look at the person that you're hurting. Yeah. It's just like so it's just thing of, and I think that's kind of the point I'm trying to make in this bit that's not really working because I think as soon as I say white women, people shut off. But I do love that white women are being sort of like called out.
I love it too
because I'll admit that whatever my group is bad, but you're bad too.
You're not as much.
I mean,
sometimes you're not as much of a victim as you.
I mean, when I was a kid, I had a good friend named Alexandra, and she was white. We always played together, had a great time. I'll never forget. I think this might have been the first time I was ever like hit with racism directly. It was the summertime, and she had a little pool that she was like we lived in the same like apartment complex. Yeah, and so. She fills the pool up with water. I come out with my bathing suit. I'm ready to my shorts or whatever. And her mom like stops me and another little black boy in our tracks before we can even get. We got in, and then she told us to get out. She's like, "I got this pool for Alexandra." And
it was at her house.
It was in the middle of like the playground area of the park. She lives like right down, like a couple of units down from me. Yeah. And so me and the black boy had to get out. The pool was big enough for all three of us to get in, and she did not let us come back inside. Right. And so my mom and the other little boy's mom came out and was like cussing her mama out or whatever. Yeah. And so we were in the same class.
That's like the sneaky shit where it's like,
but her daughter wanted me in there. Yeah. Her daughter wanted me in there. Like we were friends, and so that changed the nature of our friendship. I literally for the whole time being until I moved back to Detroit, because I was living like in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti at the time. And so I would see her on the playground at school, and she would like come up to try to hug me, and I'd be like, hey, and I'm like, I would go with my black friends. So that type of shit, man, like that was the moment where it was like I had a white female friend or whatever, and then it's that shit where you kind of like. Yeah, when that shit comes
at you.
Sam
J is so funny when she talks about that shit because they're so complicit in this. It's like he wants to rape me, Charles.
I just
you don't know because you're not a woman.
Right, and then they use the
all right. They
use the feminism shit to.
You want to rape my wife?
Yeah, they use the feminism shit to kind of be like you don't support women, but like whenever they say that, it's just white women that they're talking about. Yeah, it's never protected because then once a black woman says something. Right. They're like, shut up, bitch. This is our, this is about us. Or even like the conversations about abortion.
Do they do that? I mean, I haven't seen that explicitly.
Not explicitly, but I mean, it does happen in like a lot of like conversations.
I hate white women so much. I'm sure it happens.
It happens in a lot of conversations about like, women's, let's talk about like abortion or like, reproductive rights and stuff like that, where black women, there is a very, I don't know if do you know about like the history with Planned Parenthood?
Yeah, a little bit.
And like how it used to be like when it first got started.
It just started to stop
they were like doing like they were practicing eugenics and like, black women were getting abortions at way higher rates. They were just pretty much practicing it on black women. So like to cut down on like the birth rate in the black community or whatever. Yeah. They are far, far, far beyond that now. Like Planned Parenthood is a completely different organization now than it was. But
right, but it did kind of start. I mean I think the founder even said something like we're gonna get
rid of these black babies.
Yeah. I felt uncomfortable saying it.
But. No, but it's one of those like.
Look, they're a problem, and
but I mean,
we've invented it. The original thing was just called the black baby killing machine.
But a lot of black people have adopted that talking point now. A lot of black people who are not pro-choice. A lot of people who are like anti-choice and want like. They speak on behalf these and they are black. These black people who speak, and it'll be your types like your Farrakhans, and like they'll say like it's because of abortion that the black family is not. But it's like people also don't take into the facts that black women die from childbirth at a far higher rate than any other race of women in the world. Okay. Yeah. So it's one of those things, and then they're also like. They're treated poorly in the hospitals and medicated far differently than any other race of women in the world when it comes to childcare.
Okay. Because Carrie Caudette had a post on Facebook yesterday, and she was like, I don't care how bad Trump is. She's like, my black ass is never voting for Bloomberg. But couldn't you see, like, certain white people being like, I know, but we really need to, like, rally around. We need to, like, if Bloomberg gets close to being the nominee, they're going to be like, we need to rally around.
I mean,
Michael
it's black
Bloomberg
people doing
Trump.
it now, too.
Right.
Black people are saying,
but they're going to lecture
Carrie
you.
Carrie speaking
some white woman's going to lecture Carrie about that.
Yeah. But she ain't going to, she already has her own opinion on it. But it's like, it's I feel like, but you know what's so funny about that? The same people who were against Kamala for being a cop or whatever, or working in the Justice Department in that way and locking up.
It was all me and my friends.
Now all of a sudden they like some of these people really want Bloomberg when he was the main one who wanted to stop who ordered stop and frisk.
Yeah. It's the same people.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people echoing that point of being like, maybe we should consider. Somebody was saying like Joe Biden versus Bloomberg, who you gonna pick? I'm like, I don't want neither, honestly.
Yeah. I guess
just because Biden voted on the crime bill.
Yeah. I don't know,
man. Vote for Bernie,
show.
man.
Yeah.
People gotta vote for Bernie.
Well, I was reading about stop and frisk yesterday, and apparently they only found weapons. So stop and frisk was like, I mean, I was here when it was happening, but obviously I wasn't affected
missed
by
it.
Or like, you did?
Yeah, I had gotten. When did it end? I got here like 2012.
Yeah.
So
obviously I wasn't affected
a little bit
by it.
after.
Yeah. Or anything. But I worked at Got Junk in like 2013, I think. And there was a guy that I worked with every day. He was this guy, Joe. He's from East New York. And he told me some story about like when he was 12, like he was coming back from his aunt's house with a sandwich. He like bought a sandwich with food stamps or something. And a cop stopped him and like took his sandwich, like ran his fingers through his sandwich and like threw it in the trash.
What the hell, man?
Yeah. So it's just like, there's a ton of so there's a ton of shit like that, and like the thinking behind the like. I mean, we know what the thing.
Did he take a bite out of it? It's like, this is trash. Don't worry, you don't want it. Man, I couldn't imagine. I don't think I've never had like a moment where a cop invaded my space like that.
Okay.
But I can only imagine how dehumanizing and embarrassing that shit feels like. I mean, I've been arrested before, but I mean, when you get arrested, you kind of give yourself up to being searched.
Right. So yeah, the thing. I mean, Bloomberg said on that tape, he was like, you put cops in minority neighborhoods, and they find weapons. And but the thing that I think is funny about stop and frisk is it was only effective about 1.5% of the time. So that means you have to basically frisk like 100, almost 100 guys. You have to frisk like 75 guys.
Meanwhile, some white dude in a suit passing him up with a fucking pound of cocaine in the inside of his jacket. You know?
Yeah. But you have to frisk so many people before you find a gun.
Yeah.
So it's like a waste of time.
And then I just think about all of like these white dudes on bikes and in their cars selling weed all across New York City. Some that I've purchased from.
Yeah. I know.
And I'm like, damn, this is kind of with zero impunity.
Yeah.
Just kind of like out in the open, like, here, I got this, I got that. I'm like, and you would never once get patted down for anything. That's wild.
Yeah, there's fucking hoops in your ears. You smell funny. You're rude.
Zero impunity.
You yell at pedestrians on your bike. Yeah, you're just a menace. You're just a menace. Yeah, you should be.
But no, he's an entrepreneur.
Who? Oh, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
On the bike. There's a whole HBO show that I'm on about it.
Right.
A guy on a bike riding through New York City selling weed. Meanwhile, black dudes can't walk around with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because we might have drugs and
you
weapons
can't
on
really
us.
You can't really do that, right? As a sell weed on a bike.
I mean, not with my skin complexion. But
well,
I mean,
I won't do it then. I won't do anything that you can't.
You got a big enough kitchen, friend. You can get away with like having people roll up.
Doing it here.
Yeah, doing it here. Knock on the window.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. What else did I want to talk about? What's going on with Sandra Bland? Anything happen? Do you know if anything happened? With
I don't even know. I think I don't know. Did we ever get any? I honestly can't tell you. You know what's so hard about these stories? There's so many of them. There was a moment. I think it's kind of. I'm not gonna say that they've gone away. Like we haven't seen any like police brutality incidents lately. None that have been like high profile. Which is something to be said. I'm sure stuff is going on still in the country, but like the news is kind of focused on one thing. It seems like now, but. So much, and I mean, I am guilty of it, but you just become desensitized. Yeah. And once I started seeing all types of videos of people getting killed or whatever, I kind of checked out of it. I try not to go that route. It does
kind of feel like
it just becomes like, man, it's just part of course. Like, why am I still getting mad about it? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you don't want to get like that. But
that guy Joshua Brown in Dallas was shot. He testified in the Botham Jean case, and then he was shot.
I think for me it was Tamir Rice. It was Tamir, and I think that was before Sandra Bland, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was before.
Yeah. And that's after Tamir Rice, I was kind of just like, all right, like I don't want to I don't want to really read anything else. I don't want to, because that kid was just on his bike.
I know, you just read.
And he was a
he was
kid.
playing with a toy gun or something.
And he was a kid.
Yeah.
He wasn't even over, what, like 12? He had to
Yeah.
be like 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think he had a cap gun or something.
yeah.
right?
So
Yeah.
it's just I just get like
12, yeah.
Yeah. So like when it comes to like Sandra Bland and those stories, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts to like read anything about it.
Reading sucks. Well, you just read all this stuff, and then you feel so fucking helpless.
Right, because it's like, okay, now that I've read this, what am I doing with it?
Right, you're like, are we gonna burn something or?
And if I
Yeah.
do, I'm gonna get in trouble or
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
You know, I can't really take too much action, and that's the thing. I take my hat off to the people before me and in present day who actually
Mm-hmm.
go out here and like put themselves on the front lines to speak up on behalf of us. Because like honestly, I'm not that brave. I'm brave enough to get on stage and joke about some shit, but
Yeah.
not to get in front of. Cause I don't fucking like, you know, they get rid of people now. They really do. You know, you do come up missing, or you do get.
Yeah.
You know, you get doxxed and shit like that because
Hopefully
you
they warn you first.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind. I'm cool with what's the guy D-Ray.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with him. I see him in public every now and again. The way he gets treated, you know, out here is like, you know, I'm like, oh, I don't
He's
want.
the Twitter guy.
Yeah, I don't want that. The blue vest dude. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want that
What's-
kind
what's
of
his-
attention.
How did he get famous?
Well, he found himself kind of in the crosshairs really like when the Ferguson protests started. So
Yeah.
he was really like knee deep in all of that. He kind of just like sprouted. He just became prominent from that movement.
Mm-hmm.
He faced a lot of controversy though, because I think he was clinging to the Black Lives Matter movement
Mm-hmm.
and kind of making himself, I think,
The center.
the kind of the
Yeah.
centerfold, like not centerfold, but like the figurehead.
The figurehead.
When
yeah.
a lot of people were against him doing that, and
Yeah,
so you know, I don't really know what the truth was with all of that. It's
sort
kind
of
of
like opportunistic, like
I
yeah.
don't know.
People
I don't
who
really
get
know.
that powerful usually, yeah. They
You know,
have-
once you become that person that
Yeah,
everybody, once you become like, once you get any type of notoriety, people start to kind of
once you have
target you.
article of clothing that you wear every day, like you're Doug from Nickelodeon, yeah.
He's like a cartoon character of a person, where it's
Yeah.
like you do have that one article that,
Yeah.
and it raised a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know what the truth is. I don't know what, you know, I just know where he kind of like resurrected and how he came about, and where
Sure.
people like he started doing more like talks, and
Mhm.
he sold a book and everything like that, and just like kind of educating people. I don't know
Yeah.
a lot, but see, that's the other thing. You know, black people, we are very critical of the black people who are going to assume the roles.
Right.
You know, Martin Luther King was met with it. Malcolm X was
Was
met
it?
with it.
Yeah.
Fred Hampton was met with it. I'm
Mhm.
sure. You know,
I guess you got to have like a pretty strict vetting process if someone's going to take up that role,
or
right?
just really thick skin if you're that
Mhm.
person. You
Mhm.
know, you got to be willing to take it from both sides of the black community, the
Right,
ones who
right.
agree with you and the ones who don't.
But you got to make sure your leaders aren't like full of shit, or that you know,
Exactly.
like they're
And that you're versed in what matters most to us.
yeah.
You know, you might assume
Because
that
white
you-
people are going to be real hard on you.
especially.
Yeah.
But the black folks that you assume to be the voice of are definitely going to be hard on you, because
Mhm.
you know, if you make one wrong move
Mhm.
that we think is a little
Mm-hmm.
then you're out of here,
Yeah.
or you know, you're out of here in the eyes of the people who don't trust you.
Yeah. They say Fred Hampton was the guy who started the Rainbow Coalition. He was like the originator of the Rainbow Coalition.
Oh yeah.
And that's probably why they wanted him gone. Because when you have somebody on YouTube who's like, "Fuck white," I would never stick my dick in a white woman. Like that's not. They're not going to assassinate him because it's like it's
Yeah, you
that's
better not.
divisive.
Yeah.
So they don't
They
care.
like divisiveness.
But
yeah.
but somebody like Fred Hampton who's like, listen, like anybody can join. This is all about like a
there you
a
go.
unity thing. I mean,
Mhm.
anytime it's people working together.
Yeah, I
that
think there
really
are documented
threatens-
white members of the Black Panthers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think
but there's
there
also
have been.
there were also informants in the Black Panthers. who,
Yeah.
and that's probably how Hampton was killed.
Was killed.
Um,
Yeah. We
yeah.
actually, you know what's so funny? When I was in high school, the Black Panthers showed up to my high school once
Did
because
they?
so this girl got into a fight with another girl.
What if it was the Black Israelites? They were like, boys and girls, we have a special
No,
presentation.
these were
for you today."
legitimate. No, this girl had gotten into a fight with
Mhm.
another girl at my high school, and
Mhm.
then the next day, her
Black.
parents, I guess her parents were members
Uh-huh.
or friends with the. So I get to school, and there are like Black Panthers outside of the building and outside of the principal's office.
Really?
Because they were like protecting it. I was like, I don't know what this has to do with the Black Panthers. I was like, are they here to like protect
muscle?
Like I don't know what it was all about, but she showed up with them to school the next day, and we were like, "Wow, this is what happens when you get beat up." Oh, I didn't know this was. I mean, I was pretty educated on the Black Panthers in high school, so I was like, "Is this what they are supposed to be doing?" Right. I mean, these are two black girls fighting. It wasn't like a white girl that fought her, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh, it was two. It
was two black girls fighting. So what was it supposed to really be about?
That's pretty funny that just the whole political party just shows up. They're like, they got to take the day off from work.
Oh, that was the funniest day ever. We were like, why are they here? We go to school with maybe the white population in our high school was maybe like 0.2%. So
right.
Yeah.
It is funny the way they get vilified because a lot of the stuff that they were doing was just I mean, some of it was like just giving kids lunches.
Yeah, they were definitely like a community service organization, like where, you know, and I mean, the same can also be said for the Bloods and the Crips. People don't know that.
Really?
But they started off as just like protecting their own community. They were like self-policing.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like a lot of these, you know, it goes back to my original point where it's like,
and they were like, guys,
we get demonized
if we
so
sell
much.
Crack, we can make so much more money.
we can
help so many more kids
when we
if
come
we sell
together.
crack.
We get demonized,
right.
And then it becomes a violent. We become like these people, like these monsters. They come together. You know, a group of black dudes.
I guess people try to
a group of white
it.
dudes is just a frat,
right.
or some shit like that.
Right, and then you have people trying to infiltrate it and break it up. I mean, like that is kind of one thing. I mean, we'll say this and then we'll wrap up the show. But that is one thing I am sort of interested in because you hear when you start listening to these people, you start hearing. You hear them talk about the links between capitalism and racism, and I feel like I kind of understand that, but not I don't fully understand it. I'm like we're always trying to sort of like connect those dots.
Yeah.
And
well, you think I mean I think about it in the sense of like, you know, whenever I find, you know, it seems like it's easier for white people to get like loans and stuff like that than it is. Like I know so many white business owners that are able to kind of get in there and you know, open up a business and start their own stuff and like buy a home and things like that. And whereas black people, it's said in the finance industry that we don't pay money back and we don't handle money good, but it's like we've never had an opportunity to like really acquire any type of wealth. So we don't have any collateral and we don't have any assets because historically we've never had anything to pass down to one another.
Right, and then it kind of perpetuates too,
exactly.
when you're
so
treated,
what can and then education that also comes into financial education and economics. So like I don't know how, you know, the people who are in charge of society expect to be able to trust us with money when we've never actually been able to acquire any type of substantial wealth.
Right.
Because of the blocking and like the discrimination that takes place in the job market. There are so many, you know, different avenues we could go down that capitalism is at the helm of it.
There's a lot of different avenues.
Yeah.
Right. It's
employment, all of that.
Right, and also I guess the whole thing about like if people get the sense that, you know, like we're sort of all in this together. Like I feel like for someone to put on a KKK hood and like light a cross on fire, I don't know, it's not like they just woke up one day and they were like, oh I don't like black people. I mean maybe they like went to a movie or something and
do they realize? I think it's so funny how they don't realize how silly they look in those like outfits. Like at least the Black Panthers, like they got on shades and berets and stuff. Like if we're honest, fashionably speaking, white the KKK is the most ridiculous looking group of like extremists.
But that's the funny. I mean, you can't
the Black Israelites like kind of like jazz it up a little bit.
They do. Yeah, they look, a lot of them look good. It looks fun.
Those guys scared the shit out of me. Yeah. Like I mean, even as a black person, you know what I mean. Like I was dating this Filipino dude last year, and you know he lived in Harlem. Yeah. So I would always walk like on 125th Street holding his hand or whatever, and they would like not be too happy with me. And it was just always funny. I would like make sure to hold his hand. Yeah. And he would be like, Alex, I don't know if we should. I'm like, don't worry. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah. That's how I feel too.
They're non-violent. You know what I mean? So it's like I can just kind of antagonize him, and like he's clearly not black. So they're like, well, they already have you know what's so funny? I love crossing that line or going through that threshold of like kind of fucking with them where it's like, they already have a problem with homosexuality. So let me take it a step further with them and
Just
troll
kiss.
them now.
Kiss right in front of her.
They're like, don't. What should we be mad at first?
Right. They see you kissing your Filipino
Oh,
boyfriend.
it's
And then they
amazing.
see a Jewish guy. They don't know who to yell at. Yeah. Yeah, but that's what. But it's also funny when you hear when you hear white guys be like, "Oh, these black Israelites can just like," people act like they're offended by
Right,
by
but
that.
it's my thing with
just-
that is like
they're not going to do anything.
They're not gonna do anything. They're typically
can't
not
hurt you.
violent. They can't hurt you. And yes,
Well, they did throw it. They did push a lady over. There's a video of one.
oh,
of
I
them
remember
pushing
that
a lady on the
video.
ground,
Yeah. Okay. Well, you have your moments.
But they're only going to hurt women. They're not going to hurt you.
And I mean, whatever. The world has done
Yeah.
that to them. They wouldn't be the first one.
Right. That video is that's like a masterclass of like who do you not like who not to root for. There's no one in that video to root for.
Was it a white? It was a white woman too.
Oh
wasn't it?
yeah.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah,
she's
we're
like
good.
she's like trying to argue with them and stuff, and they just push her on.
And
the
it's like,
ground.
girl, at that
like
point,
just
it's your fault because you
bad.
should have just walked away, like how
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else is doing. We're all leading by example here. You have
Yeah.
you have to ignore them.
Mhm.
You know, just
Yeah.
like how I would ignore, like if the KKK were sitting
Mhm.
on 125th saying they bullshit,
Yeah,
I would
just
ignore
laugh
them.
at 'em.
I would ignore them.
Yeah.
There are far more people who are not like them
Yeah.
out here in the world. Then let those people kind of just shout into the void.
Sure.
And it's not like they're gonna like feel ridiculous
Mm-hmm.
from anything. You're not gonna change their mind.
Right. But that's the thing too. It's like we shouldn't make excuses for racism, but also it does seem like when people fall into that, sometime, and I mean I don't know.
It's
Maybe I'm wrong.
indoctrination. No, it's indoctrination.
Yeah.
They are, and this is the point I was
But there
making
are
about
like
being
capitalistic
miseducated.
goals. They want
Yeah.
they want poor white people to be mad. I guess I think the simple explanation is like they want you to be mad at black people instead of being mad at rich people.
Both
right?
extremes are wrong. You know what I mean? Both
Mhm.
extremes. Like if we're chasing equality,
Mhm.
it can't be the other way where it's like, fuck whitey. We can't respond
Right.
to what we went through
Right.
by putting them.
Right.
Also, it's impossible to
Yeah,
put
stop
white
being
people
so-
through. It's impossible.
Right.
we just can't
Yeah,
put them.
we'll just never understand.
We'll never be able to be on the upper hand
Mhm.
the way we want. I know we want. Look, black people. I know the black people that are listening.
Mhm.
It's impossible.
2 or 3.
We're never going to get the retribution
Yeah.
that I know so many of us want.
Mhm.
I know.
What is that retribution?
So, I mean, killing you, enslaving you, getting you out here on the streets, homeless. We own the banks. We want
Right,
that. I
right,
know
right,
we
right.
want that so bad.
Right,
we go to bed and dream about it.
Dude, I've never even thought about that. Just a bunch of like black people walking around in
we
suits.
just
and we're all
want we want the
homeless.
tables to be turned
To be turned,
completely,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
we're not going to get
Just
it.
everyone who works at McDonald's, all the shittiest jobs. It's all white people.
White people
You can yell at them.
are scrubbing our feet and all that shit. Like we're out here fucking white women.
And it would be
like,
worse because black people are like they're meaner when
we
they want.
would be way worse. We would be way worse. I already know because
would
of
be
what
way
all we
worse.
went through.
Yeah, if
we
you
would be
oppressed us.
nasty. We would be so nasty with it. But
you
that's why
oppressed us, it'd be
that's
way
why they
worse.
kill us.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah.
because white people know good and damn well.
Mhm.
They smart. They know good and
yeah.
damn well we would take that shit and ride that. That is why they would white people hold on to their shit.
Because you're stronger people.
Woo! They will hold on to their shit
Yeah.
so hard.
But
They hold on
but
to that
maybe
shit
you're
so
strong
hard.
from oppression though. So maybe
Yeah,
then oppression
anger.
will make us
It's
strong.
anger, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it's the anger
So
that
then-
forces
Mm-hmm.
the white people who have the power, the police and the justice system, to be like, you know what, 20 years, make sure he's in the fucking jail system forever, because we can't, retribution is
Right,
the
right.
fear that a lot of white people have, so they hold on to their shit.
Sure.
They hold on to that shit with of the strongest
Because they
clutch.
know you're
Because
gonna
they
be.
know we're coming for you. We're coming for your shit.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, that's terrifying. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight.
Black people just take to the streets.
Yeah. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight of me being homeless. And someone comes in like, "Sir, you can't sleep here."
We come and move you
Sir,
out of your
get the fuck
your
out of my-
neighborhoods.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
push you out of neighborhoods, or whatever. That's the fear.
Yeah.
But it's just not gonna
Sir,
happen.
do you live in this neighborhood? I'm just walking down the street, ma'am.
Yeah.
A little tear rolls down my face.
Yeah, that's when y'all got to start doing
We got to start having gangs.
Gangs and robbing and stealing and raping our black women
Man,
and
these
shit like
crackers
that.
are always killing They're always out here killing each other.
Cracker becomes the slur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, but see though, like it'll never happen.
I get a writing job.
Yeah. You take over BET. It's wet.
Yeah.
Just drop the B, like the Oscars. The Oscars.
That would be sick. Maybe that'll be the trajectory of my career. Black people will take over, and then I'll be like a diversity hire.
There you go.
Not that I shouldn't use that term, but you know what I mean.
I mean, they're starting to say that.
Nobody's giving me.
They're starting to say that y'all are becoming a minority out here.
I know, it's terrifying.
It's terrifying, right?
Yeah.
We coming out. But I mean, everybody's fucking each other now too. So who's really the minority anymore? There's so many different mixed kids and
we start making like good music though and just
I'm listening to this one dude
but the trade-off is like having a better culture. I mean, you guys are funnier, you make better music. It's just you have a culture that people want to.
Yeah, it makes me mad when black people aren't funny.
Yeah,
like when I meet an unfunny black dude, I'm like, damn, you ain't go through shit, did you? Nobody pushed you off your bike. No white person called you the N-word. Like you just lived a really a pleasing life. Mm-hmm. You're not funny.
Is that how you get funny? People calling you the N-word?
I mean, hey, I don't know. Maybe that's what happened to me. I got called a faggot a lot. That's what happened to me. Okay. I just became desensitized to that word to the point where when I hear it, I'm like, oh, I answer to it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, cool. Well, I guess that's about time. But this is a great episode.
It's just always fun talking to you, Mike. I'm so glad.
Thanks.
Because
I'm like a cool white guy. Right?
Yeah, and you're also teaching me about stocks. Mm-hmm. You taught me about stocks. We were together the other night. You were telling me like how to get into the stock market.
Yeah, it's not hard. You want to talk about that a little bit before we wrap up?
Tell me about the stock market.
Well,
what should I put my money in?
Not Canadian weed.
Okay.
But also, I think there might be
What's wrong with Canadian weed?
I lost like $3,500.
Oh, okay. No, we're not doing that.
But there might but a lot of people think there might be a crash coming. So I would say wait till like the big economic crash and then start buying. And so then we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Then, because everyone says we're due for a pretty big downturn.
Fred Hampton's really looking at us right now. I believe that he's like looking down on you right now, telling me about the stock market. Like, yes, brother, get into the system.
Invest in Disney, brother.
Fuck Farrakhan.
I
know he hates that, but no.
Blue chip companies, brother. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what everybody's saying. So
yeah, I mean, it's just like now, you can relate. You comedy full time and stuff. You got to figure out a way to get like money. Mm-hmm. So like, I kind of want like I just want some money that I can like that can grow.
Yeah.
That I'm not
well,
spending.
You just find. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. I mean, one thing you could do is just put it in the S&P 500. There's certain funds, so that would be a good place to start. Like you open up a Schwab account. This is good for the listeners too. So open up a Schwab.
The black listeners, are you listening?
Yeah,
the white man is listen up. The white man is teaching us something.
Right. So just open up your account and you could start like however much money you want to put in. There's a fund. It's called RSP is the ticker, and it's basically that's just you investing in the S&P 500. Okay. So it's like the top whatever companies are at the top of the.
Oh, I see.
It's like the top 500 companies. So it basically keeps your money in that fund, in those companies, right? Uh-huh. Now, if there's an economic downturn, your money might dip a little bit, but generally the American market sort of moves up slowly. So in about 2 years, I made about 8% on my money on that fund, which is more than you would make putting it in a savings account. Uh-huh. But the problem is this has happened throughout history. Republicans come into office, right, and they cut taxes and they like decrease regulations, and it makes the stock market go up a little bit, but then there's always a downturn. And I don't know, I'm not an economist or anything, but I think part of the reason is because like when people at the bottom don't have money to spend, like capitalism kind of digs its own grave because then people don't have anything.
I just think there's like a fear. There's like a fear that a paranoia, a mistrust even of like the economic system in this country where it's like I see like I'll open up this stocks app on my phone and I'll just instantly become intimidated. Like I don't know what the fuck all these lines mean, these graphs.
I know, but you just kind of
like,
do I even
want to try?
Yeah. But you just kind of do it as you go, and you learn as you go too.
You learn as you go.
There's YouTube channels and stuff, but RSP would be a good place to start. Just because
T-Mobile looks like it's doing well.
Yes, but you want to put it in when it's low.
When it's low. Mm-hmm.
I mean, ideally, but also if you're just going to put your money in somewhere and just watch it and not think about it, you don't want to think about like short returns because that's.
I've read about all these rappers like Chameleonaire and I want to say maybe like Chingy, some of these like one hit wonder dudes from like back in the early 2000s.
Just done very well. And
they did very well because like they invested in some company that was like on the rise.
Google or something.
It wasn't even Google. It might have been like some tech company that we haven't even really heard about, but they are doing well. And then they take off and make like a million, and they make like a bunch of motherfucking money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, if
and there's other rappers who's like, yeah, I bought my family dune buggy.
And he ain't. You be like, how is he this rich? He ain't put out no music. It's like he invested his money well.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's what I'm trying to go down that.
Yeah.
Home Depot, GE.
Who wants to do creative stuff? I mean, we're basically slaves doing this podcast.
I mean,
just all this work, all this thought, all this work.
You gotta do ads and shit.
Fuck this. Fucking sucks.
Making somebody else a little money.
Yeah.
I'm getting tagged in comedy shows and shit that I'm making what $20 for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fuck
yeah.
this.
I gotta. If only you could put drink tickets into the stock market.
I know. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Yes,
yeah, but that's what.
you.
But everybody thinks there's a crash coming because that's once it's like they cut taxes and it starts to grow and then there's usually a downturn. So I have actually sold a lot of my stocks.
I mean, we're due for a recession. It sounds like.
Yeah. So let's talk when there's. Let's come back.
We'll come back
when there's a recession. We'll do another episode and it'll be all about.
How well I'm doing.
How well you're doing. we'll figure out what to put our money into.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm down.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Frank.
Guys, you know what to do. sitdownpod@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with us. Support us on Patreon if you can, right? We don't run any ads on this show, and we hopefully never will. I don't know. But patreon.com/sitdownpod. Even if you want to, donate for a month or two, that'll help us out. It's very easy to join and then cancel if you want. So we certainly appreciate anybody who has come and gone or still donates. And Sit Down Pod on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, Mike Racine on Twitter, Racine Mike on Instagram. And happy Black History Month. And God bless. Bye-bye.